Welcome back to my channel. This is Adeline. I'm with Adejuan's Art Dolls. If you're new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. In this series today, this is part 6, I believe. Yes, it is part 6, and it's going to be about putting on the first layer of paint. Now, I told you in other videos that I kind of make up my paint. And so these are the things that I use in making up my paints, getting this part going. I use my water and wetting solution. And then I use the glazings, um, satin glazing liquid. And then I use my skin tone that I make up. Okay. And now I just take a little out of here. Just a little. Don't need much. And then I will put some of this satin glazing in it. And the satin glazing and the wetting agent that I put in my water helps my paint to last a little longer, for me to be able to paint on my dolls, and it won't come off. I mean, it won't come off. It won't I'm trying to think. I lost it again. Um but it gives me time to work, is what I'm really trying to say. It gives me time to work. It lets me be able to keep the paint on and keep it wet. And then I put the water solution in it. And I make sure that I mix it very well, because you have so much paint stuck in the brush. See, we need all of that out. So we need to work it, work it, work it. And see how thick it's getting? It's getting thick. Man, it's going to get thicker. See how thick it is now? It's real thick. It's too thick to put on the baby. That's too thick to put on the baby. That is for sure statement. So I add more water. And I just keep adding a little bit of water until I get the consistency that I want. And I make sure that it's all out of my brush, because that can streak on your baby, and you don't want that. You don't want any kind of streaking. And you want this to kind of mimic chocolate milk, that kind of consistency. As you can see, it's chocolate milk. And when I mix it up, kind of slides down, and it's going to clear out, but it's thick. And so I just might add a little more water to it, just a tinge, because it's still, I think, paint coming out of the brush. And you got to make sure that you get all that paint out of the brush, because the more I keep moving it around, it seems like the more thicker it's getting. And so I use these little clear bowls, anything clear, a glass plate, a bowl, a jar. You want it to be clear, because when you push that paint up to the side and it runs down, you want to see what the color is going to be when it runs down. I don't know, it's hard for you to see that, but see when I push it up, kind of mimics chocolate milk. So I'm going to add just a tinge more water in it. And my brush looks pretty clean. And we'll give it some pat downs just to make sure that it is. Please hit the like, subscribe, that bell icon so that you won't miss any of my videos, and share my videos so that my channel can grow. I would appreciate that. I'm doing a giveaway, and only the subscribers will be the ones in the video. I mean, in the giveaway. And I'm trying to reach 100 so that I can give away something that I've made. It's going to be something I made, but it's for a baby. Okay? And even if you don't have a baby doll, you can always use what I have for a real baby. I make a lot of things. I do a lot of stuff. My family's always getting on to me about the things that I do. But of course, they are not doing anything, so that's why they would get on to me. Because if they was doing something, they wouldn't have time to get on to me. Okay. And as you can see, it already mimics a skin tone anyway. But it's just going to be a light skin tone. You're just going to be able to tell that, well, you may not even be able to tell that I put anything on. Clean your brush, and we're going to start with the head. But you may not be able to even tell. See? It's clear, more or less clear. And that's more or less what you want. Let me prepare me some sponges over here. And what you do with your sponge, you just hydrate it. You hydrate it in your water. Squeeze out as much water as you can. And that's what you use. I usually have 2 sponges going so that and if you wash your sponge out, or it won't, it may stain. Some of the paint may stain, but it won't come off on your baby. Okay, see, got my sponges. Okay. Each time you put your brush in, you should kind of mix it up a little. But do you see that my head is still wet? Normally, people would say, oh, it dries so quickly. Well, mine don't dry as quickly unless I make it too thick. And if I make it too thick or too thin, it will dry quickly. And do you see that when I put the markings on for the shadows, I'm sorry, for the creases, that it's still staying in the creases. Um, Most of the time that it will stay in the creases unless, you're wiping hard, really hard. but 9 times out of 10, it will stay in the creases. I do everything. This layer, I put it on the mouth, on the lips. I put it on everything because that also gives it a little skin, you know, uh, texture too. And then I pounce. And let me put this down so I'll have somewhere 2 pounds off. When your sponge gets too saturated, you just let me show you. You just sponge it out on your paper towel and continue to go on. Because when you don't want to leave bubbles or markings of bubbles on your baby, that's not going to be a good look. Now, putting this on today, I may have time to put it on all three, all well, not all three, all of the limbs, the head and all the limbs. I may have time to do that. If not, I will do what I can do. I'm trying not to make this a very long video because it's just what you see. You're not going to see a whole lot of color. Um, and you just putting this, like I said, this first layer of paint on, and you are going to have to put 3 of these layers on before moving to the next color. What I do. Let me put it like that. This is what I do. Showing you my process, not anybody else's. I have picked up, different things from different artists that have been in the game for a long time. Let me get me a pouncing brush that has been in the game for, and this is just a mop brush, so it's called a mop brush. And this is what I use a lot of times for pouncing. Sometimes I do have kabuki brushes that I sometimes use. Um, but today we're going to use a mop brush. And you just kind of turn it around so that you can get all of it out. And if you need to get in a little bit closer, you can get another. This is a paintbrush and it's a number 7 by, what is this? Uteria. I got it off of Amazon. It came with a lot of brushes, and I'm just getting that into the um, crease in the ear. And now I'll just go all the way around it with my mop brush to get any of the paint out of the ears. Make sure you get behind the ears. That's where a lot of paint pools. Make sure you get that in there good. Because like I said, you don't want to leave. And see, it's dry enough for me to touch, but it's not cure. I like to pounce off as much as possible so that I can touch it and it won't mess up anything. You can just touch it, but it's still wet. You can tell it's still wet. You can feel the wetness in on the head, but it's also dry enough to touch. And as you can see, it didn't change anything. See, It didn't change anything. It looks just a little bit beigeier, but to me, and that's just to me because I know what I'm looking at. But it didn't hardly change anything. And we will do all the limbs like that. And I start with the feet or down below the feet. I try not to just put a whole lot of paint on just on the feet, um, because I try to bring that paint on up the leg. And I probably try not to dip into my paint but one time because what's on this baby is enough to go all over her limbs. Occasionally, I have to go back in and reload my paintbrush, but other than that, you see, that's just enough. That's just enough for this leg. And then I will pounce again. And usually I will start with the feet. Sometimes I get sidetracked and I'll do the upper part of the leg first and then think, why did you do that? When it starts to sounding like it's smushy, then I will blot it off. Get some of that paint out of my sponge or wedge. If you see any little black dots, any hair, you want to remove that immediately, because if you paint over that, it's going to be hard to get that out. And then you're going to be able to see that. And nobody wants a baby with hair or anything else on it beside what is supposed to be on it. Lighting is really good. Um, you need a little light to set on your desk where you're painting so that you can see those things on your baby. I don't have great eyesight, but I can see some of this stuff on my babies. I kind of hold them up to the light so that I can really see what's going on, because if you slant the baby a certain way, you can see little stuff on the baby. If there's anything on the baby, you can see stuff on the baby. And see how the paint on the foot is lightening up some. Some of the markings are lightening up. And that's fine. That's fine. Don't worry about that. In another video, I had sealed some babies that I was working on that had vitiligo, and I'm going to put them together and dress them. I'm not going to, they will probably need eyebrows, um, eyelashes, and the eyebrows or whatever that is, and then they'll probably need hair. But I was so thrilled with those babies that I wanted to put them together. That is something, to have a baby that relates to you and what you have going on is something special to me. So I felt like that I wanted to show those off, and so I'm going to put them together and do a video on dressing them so that you can see what they look like without hair. And I do sell bald babies. So if anybody is interested in one of them being a bald baby, it is actually a cheaper price to have a bald baby from me um, than to have a baby with hair, because the baby with hair takes almost a month to put that hair on. Um, and it takes a good it takes a good 3.5 or 3 weeks to do that hair. So, if anybody would want to buy a bald baby, it would be cheaper to buy that bald baby from me than to have hair, because hair is going to take a minute to get that hair on because it takes that long, and it's just only me doing it. So I'm just letting you know that any babies that um, I am showing, I will let you know what babies that are in my collection, and they will not be sold, period. Um, like Rufus is a curly head Levi baby. He will never be sold because he was a baby that when my mom was ill and in hospice, he helped me through when she passed. And so I can't get rid of him. um, but and let me see, there's another baby. Um, oh, my first reborn baby, which is Eric. Um, he cannot be sold either. He will not be sold either. But anything else is up for grabs. Um, there are the first two babies. I had bought hair from this place. That everybody rant and raved over the hair, and I bought some hair and put it on my babies, and it's awful. So I didn't get that rant and rave on that hair. So anyway, I have two, a widow, and they are replicas, but their hair is not up to par. It's not the hair that I wanted. And so they will be at a reduced price as well. Um, but anybody with my good hair will not, because that hair cost me. Hair is not expensive at all. That's one of the most expensive things you can put on the baby besides their clothes. That paint will last a while, and so you have many uses of to paint a baby. But when it comes to eyes and hair, those two things are expensive on a baby. And so that's, people are going to charge you because they put those glass eyes in, and people are going to charge you because they paid expensive for the hair. And I'm can't blame them. I really can't blame them. When you get expensive hair, you get a good quality of hair. So, not that the hair that I bought was inexpensive, it was more expensive, but than the hair that I like, but just was not a good grade of hair to me. And I don't like calling names out. That's doesn't solve anything. I don't like calling names out. I'm not a negative person. I took that hair with a grain of salt and put it in my baby's head. Not that I knew what it was going to look like in the head until after I started to work on it. But at that point, it was too late. So I had to continue. And then turn around and put it in another baby's head because I didn't have any and I wanted to get a baby made. So with that being said, is you got to hunt around. and make sure that you are getting a good quality of hair, um, along with the price that you're going to pay for that hair. Because usually they give 10 ounces. You can get, I think, a fourth of an ounce, a third of an ounce, a fourth of an ounce, a half an ounce. You can get um, 10 ounces, not 10 ounces, point 10 ounces. Point 10 ounces is less than a third, I think, of hair. But and it can cost $30, $40 for that 10 ounces of hair. So, but of course, you don't need a lot of hair on your baby, because your babies, these are babies. These are not grown people. These are not teenagers. So therefore, their hair don't need to be very long. It don't need to be down their back because they're a baby. So you can use, you could probably get, mm, maybe, maybe three babies, two or three babies out of that hair. So it's a plus and it's a minus. It really is. Like I said, I buy my products from wherever I can get them at a decent price, and um, because that's what I do. I mean, these babies are so expensive. That's what I do. Um, so, and they're expensive. That, like I said, they may be costing you as the consumer, but baby, they cost us too to make them for you. So, and then look at the time that we have. The time that we spend in on these babies are, I do a lot of time away from my family doing these babies, because I want them to be right. I want them to be what is expected of the baby, when it comes to you. And I don't care whether it is a repticle, whether it is an authentic. To me, they all are kits. And it is a doll. I'm not getting bent out of shape of those two words. No, it is a doll kit. And I'm treating it the same. I don't do lesser work on the replica as I do on the authentic. No, everybody gets quality work from me. Now, some people, when they do they less expensive babies, then they do less expensive work. They want to give crappy eyes, acrylic eyes. Some acrylic eyes are not up to par, but you know, I want to put glass eyes because I think they look more natural and more human, than acrylic eyes. So, unless that acrylic eye is a good acrylic, then that's the only way that I will use acrylic eyes in my babies. But I want to give the same service for both of them. And when you get a baby from me, you can guarantee that the work is not shabby on that replica as it is on that authentic, because that's just me. If it's not quality to me, it's not going to be quality to you. And it doesn't matter whether you say, oh, that's okay, I'll take it. If it's not quality to me, it's not quality to you. And some people, they don't mind, but I do, because my name has to go on that, not their name, mine. So that's the reason why I say what I say. And see, they're about ready. Everything is about ready. I'm going to do a, let me see what time it is. Okay, it's 30, we're in it to this 30 minutes. I'm going to stop here. Um, but when I come back, I will be coming back to add another color to this paint, and I will do my next 2 layers off the camera. So I'm letting you know, 3 layers for this color skin tone. Now, I'm not sure if your skin tones are going to be the same. I put up a picture to let you know in one of the other videos to let you know how the colors look in Genesis, so that when you buy a tutorial and you buy a heat set tutorial, you can take that heat set tutorial. Most paints have the same colors, and you can take that uh, tutorial and turn it into an air dry instead of heat set. So this is the reason for me making my skin tones the colors that I did. I have my colors go from 2 to 7, and then uh, I did another one. I did a raw umber color, because it's just darker than that. I don't see it down here, but I don't know where it went to. Anyway, um I did my colors that way so that I could kind of mimic what Genesis was using when they tell you, well, use a brush stroke of skin tone 2, a flesh 2, a flesh 7. And, I wanted to have some colors that I could relate to in my journey. So this is the purpose of me doing my colors this way. And so that I don't have to mix every time. I can, and my colors will be basically the same each time that I put these colors onto my babies. They will be basically the same. So the layers, the layers of paints is what causes your baby to be light or darker than the next baby. So when I come back, I will have finished what's in here. And if this is just enough to finish 2 layers, I will go with the 2 layers, because I don't want to make any more than this, because I don't want to make any more that's going to be sitting around. I mean, I want to use up what I'm making. So anyway, if you have any questions on anything that you need to know about how I process my paints for my babies, or anything I think that you might want to know, is there anybody that's watching me that uses air dry paints? And what paints do you use? I would like to know that, because not all times that you can use the method that I'm using with other lines of paints. They usually have a tutorial to go to that line of paints, and basically, you may need to follow that. So I'm not really sure about the process in which they go about applying the paint. So, but if you have any questions in golden paints, I will be so glad to help you out with that, get you started. If you follow my videos from 1 to 6, I think we're on 6. Yes, we're on 6. And if you follow this, you will come out with a beautiful baby. I'm gonna come out with a beautiful baby. Now, if you if you do something different, don't blame it on me. I have a disclaimer. This is my setup, not yours. So don't hold me responsible for how yours turn out. Um, but I would suggest that you look at other videos on Reborn painting. Even watching Genesis, heat set paints. Genesis is no more, and so they are changing brands, and a lot of other doll companies, doll suppliers, I'll say, is coming out with their own airbrush paints or their own heat set paints. So you can look at um, search on YouTube about that paint. Search on YouTube about painting with that paint. Um, so that you can see different ways that people are applying the paints. And it helps you get your head together, get your brain to working about how you're going to apply your paint. When I first started, and let me say this too. Get a color wheel. Get a color wheel because not all kits are the same either. Um, I'm going to show you. You see, one of my baby's legs is lighter than the other one. Arm. Let me get an arm so you can actually see that. One of my baby's arms is lighter than the other, of course, bigger, but this is the Johanna and this is the Betty. And Betty, when Betty came to me, her vinyl was darker. I didn't lighten it up because I'm going to make it dark anyway. So I didn't lighten hers up. But Johanna's kit was very light. And as you can see, her mottling is more prominent than Betty's is because let's show you Betty's arm, the inside of her arm, and Johanna's. See Johanna's and the inside of Johanna's arm. And see, Johanna's is more on the pink side, and it's like Betty already has like kind of like a brown tone. But anyway, all the vinyl that you get is not the same. So you can't look at it as being the same. You can neutralize the colors to vinyl to make it become lighter, but that's to me is unnecessary if you're going to use it for a dark baby. Why lighten it up to darken it? That's my motto. Not everybody's motto, but that's mine. So, yes. Um, I think that's about all that we're going to do today. Um, Please like, share, and make sure you subscribe. There's people coming to my channel, but they're not subscribing. So please make sure that you subscribe. You'll be in this drawing. And like I said, even if you don't need it for a baby, you can use it for a human baby during a baby shower. So come back, see series part 7 on the process of me making a baby from start to finish with Genesis. I'm sorry, not Genesis, with golden air dry paints. And I make mistakes all the time, and I talk, yeah. But I'm just me, so forgive me. But I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.